Hello Booktube, welcome to LizziefayeLovesBooks. I'm Elizabeth and this is my October TBR. Now I am doing a couple of different challenges right now. I decided that since I have read all of the Sunshine State Young Reader books for the 6th to 8th grade that I should tackle the 3rd to 5th grade list. They should take less time since most of them are probably shorter. I've got 2 of them we already own and one I've already read, and then I've got one checked out so far from the library. So the first one is Pie by Sarah Weeks, and I have already read this. It's one of my daughter's favorite books. This, even though it's been out a little while, this is one of the Sunshine State Young Reader Award finalists for 3rd to 5th grade for this year. Another one, my daughter has had this already, and I don't think she ever read it, but it's called 3 Times Lucky by Sheila Turnage, and so I'll be reading that. And then I checked this out from the library recently. This is Freaky Fast Frankie Joe by Latricia Clifton. And so these are 3 of the 15 books for 3rd to 5th grade for the Florida Sunshine State books for this year. I will link down below so you can take a look at the list of all these books, the rest of the list, and then you'll be hearing more about those in future videos. If you've seen any of my other TBR or wrap-up videos, you know that I'm doing the 2015 Ultimate Reading Challenge. I'm going to try to check off 3 books for that challenge this month. One challenge is to read a book that your mother loves. I have narrowed it down to 2, and I need some help deciding which one to read. So if you could look at both of these and let me tell you my reasons why I want to read either of them or both of them, and maybe you can vote and tell me which one you think I ought to read. My first choice is Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm. This particular edition, I believe, is abridged for younger audiences, but if I pick this book, I want to read this edition, and here's why. My mother, who passed away in 2008, gave this to my daughter Emily, my oldest daughter, the one who has autism and will probably never be able to read a book like this. She gave this to her in July of 2003. Yeah, when Emily was just 2, and we did not know at the time that she was going to have the problems that she has. Here's what she wrote. To Emily, this was my favorite story when I was growing up in Oklahoma. I hope you enjoy it too. I love you, Grandma Frances. So I thought about reading this and maybe even reading it to my daughter. She's 14. She probably wouldn't get the whole story, but it still might be nice to read it aloud and share it with her, since that was something that my mother would have wished for. Then my other choice is a book that I know my mother loved. This was not her copy. I don't know what became of her copy, but this is Maria. Let me go inside and show you. This book is Maria by Maria von Trapp. It is the autobiography of Maria von Trapp, who you hopefully know is the main character in The Sound of Music. And I remember my mother reading this multiple times and loving it and sharing parts of it with me and reading other stories about the Von Trapps and watching Sound of Music over and over and reading anything she could find about Maria von Trapp and The Sound of Music. She knew all kinds of trivia about The Sound of Music. So I know that this is something that she loved. And the book is only about 200 pages, so it would be a really quick read, and it's something that I would enjoy reading. I bought this book at a book sale a couple of years ago with the plans to read it, of course, before I even knew about this challenge. So this is my other choice for reading a book that my mother loves. So would you do me a favor, and which one, if you were me, which one would you read? Let me know in the comments if you would, please. Now, Banned Book Week is finishing up the day as I'm filming this right now. It is Banned Book Week, but I probably won't get to these until next week. I hope to check this one off this month. This is The Face on the Milk Carton by Carolyn B. Cooney. I don't know for sure if this was ever actually banned, but it is on several of the frequently challenged lists where it was challenged quite a bit, and so I'm going to go ahead and count it as my banned book that I need to read for the Ultimate Reading Challenge. But I'm also going to read another banned book, which is Of Mice and Men. This particular copy is a library copy. It is a bind-up of Tortilla Flat and Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. But I'm just going to read Of Mice and Men. I am waiting I've ordered a copy that will be a lot lighter weight than this one that is just of Mice and Men that I will be reading from. I just went ahead and checked this one out so I could show you. It's what they had available when I was in our local library the other day. And so I'm going to be reading Of Mice and Men on the Ultimate Reading Challenge. This is going to count as a book that I was supposed to read at school and I never did. Now, I don't recall that I was ever supposed to read Of Mice and Men, but I don't know of any books that I was supposed to read in school that I didn't read. I even went back and looked at some of the old school papers that I still have, and I couldn't find any evidence of anything that I was supposed to read. I remember reading Red Badge of Courage and Scarlet Letter. I think I read those in college, and I don't even remember what I read in high school or what I was supposed to read. That was pretty long ago. That was over 30 years ago. So I just looked at what a lot of other people have to read for school. And, of course, a lot of those I've already read. And this was something that I hadn't read, and it's pretty short. So this is why I picked Of Mice and Men. And it just so happens that we're in Banned Book Week right now. So I thought it would be a good time to give it a read. Now, another book that my mother would have read if she had known about it is the fifth book from Effie Leland Wilder. I have hauled a couple of books by Miss Wilder before, and she is a lady who has passed away now. Up until I discovered this book, I would have told you that she had 4 books that were all written after the age of 85. There's a 5th one, and I'm so excited because I have read the other 4. I have bought multiple copies of them and passed them on to other people and given them to other people. I had to check this one out from the library because I have not been able to find one other than online. And eventually I probably will break down and buy my own copy online, but they're kind of pricey, as I recall. So this one is called Oh My Goodness, More Surprises from Fair Acres. And if you have not ever heard of these books, they're just cute and adorable. Miss Wilder wrote these fictional stories based on her experiences living in her senior citizens assisted living community, or in her assisted living home. And they're just so fun and so cute that I recommend them for any age. They're just really, really precious to read. For my nonfiction book, I'm still working on the Everything Organize Your Home book. I originally was going to read this because I needed a book that got low ratings, but I realized the ratings were not really as low as I thought they were. They were still about a 3.0 for the Goodreads rating. But I discovered another book that I own that got even lower ratings than that. It got a 2.65, and that's The Almost Moon by Alice Sebold. So I will probably be reading this to meet the challenge on the Ultimate Reading Challenge for a book that got low ratings. I don't know if I'll get to that this month, but definitely sometime before the end of the year I will be reading this. And I'm probably still going to finish the Everything Organize Your Home book, but it just is not going to meet that challenge. So I may postpone it a little while I finish up the things that I need to read for the Ultimate Reading Challenge. Alright, so a few audiobooks that I'm planning on listening to. I have Paradise Lost by J.A. Jance. This is from the Joanna Brady series, and my husband and I have been listening to these in order of publication, and so he has already listened to this, and it's my turn to get this finished up. For my book club this month, I'm going to be listening to The Good Earth by Pearl S. Buck. And on the recommendation of Akoss from AkossiwaK, I have checked out The Scandalous Sisterhood of Prickwillow Place by Julie Berry, and I'm looking forward to this. I also checked out Gregor and the Code of Claw by Suzanne Collins. This is book 5 in Gregor and the Underland Chronicles, but my daughter Katie is insisting that I read this in book form. We do have a copy of it, so I probably will because she is just making me swear and promise that I will read it instead of listen to it. There are some codes and some things like that in the book, but I did check this out because my husband and I have been listening to these on audio, so we may do a combination of the two. He'll probably take this in the car and listen to it, but I will be sure to show him the parts in the book that are important to look at. Another audiobook that I'm going to listen to, this is The Autistic Brain, Thinking Across the Spectrum by Temple Grandin and Richard Panik. I've not read anything by Temple Grandin. I've seen the movie that stars Claire Danes that is based on her younger life, and I have seen her interviewed, and if you've not heard of Temple Grandin, she is a college professor who has autism and has really just overcome her setbacks, if you will. She's overcome them and really just has gone on to do amazing and wonderful things in the world of cattle and their production, and also in the world of autism. So she studied animal husbandry in college and is now a professor of that. And so I'm looking forward to listening to this. In fact, my husband usually orders this kind of book from the library, and I don't think he has ever listened to or read any of Temple Grandin's books either. So he saw this sitting on the counter and he goes, "Did you order that or did I?" I said, "No, I did, but you can listen to it if you want." But I think this is going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. So I guess that's all of my TBR for October. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.